Arthur Brittany Joestar is brave. They grew up in El Salvador, Central America, a country where being openly LGBTQ+ can be life-threatening. They had a good job, good friends, and wanted, like all of us, to live freely as themselves in the place that they called home. Unfortunately for Arthur Brittany, the society in which they happened to be born had other ideas. Because back then, Arthur Brittany was a gay man, or they thought they were. And to many people in El Salvador, including members of the police force, this was all the excuse they needed to persecute Arthur Brittany with threats, physical violence, and humiliation on a daily basis. After a series of incidents, they took the brave decision to flee their home and seek asylum in the UK. As part of the long and arduous immigration process, they were offered counselling to deal with the psychological pressures they were feeling. During this process, they went on a journey of self-discovery and realised that they hadn't previously had the words or the understanding to describe their own identity. They were not a great gay man and they were not a transgender woman. They were gender non-binary. After several failed attempts, Arthur Brittany finally won their battle in a landmark ruling in the upper tribunal to become the first person to be granted refugee status in the UK on the basis of being non-binary. On this Non-Binary People's Day, we are extremely proud to offer you this podcast interview with Arthur Brittany to learn more about their experiences. Hi, Arthur Brittany. Thank you so much for joining us today for this podcast on Non-Binary People's Day. We've given our colleagues a little bit of background to your incredible story, which brought you from El Salvador to Liverpool and to becoming the first person to be granted UK asylum on the grounds of being gender non-binary. Now we'd like to have a deeper dive into your experiences and how you got where you are, both literally and figuratively today. Hello, how are you?
I'm all right. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you. We're so excited to have you. I really, really appreciate it. If you don't mind going into it, can you tell us a little bit about your experiences in El Salvador? And what was the catalyst or series of events that led you to come to the UK?
Right, that's a little bit long part of the story. And to make it a little bit shorter, even before I started my therapy, like you said, to discover my gender identity, there was something inside of me that makes me feel different to anyone else. There was something that was trying to burning inside and trying to get out, but I didn't knew what was that. It's like, you got something different. You are not like anyone else, but you don't know exactly what makes you different. So since I was really young, I remember I always wanted to be a little bit feminine, but not at all, like not crossing like the point to look like a woman, but not also like on the point to look like a totally masculine figure.
Right.
So I grew up and I started to get like some friends and some people that gave me the confidence to be who I really am, and like they don't care about that. I got some licenses in my country to express myself. Things like bleach my hair, use nail polish, or wear chokers, some stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was like let's say the first signs of the identity that I was trying to get out of me.
Okay.
Fortunately, that was the things that caused me to suffer persecution back there in El Salvador. For the society, there are only two roles. Not talking about the genders, two roles, like men's to be like the stereotypical role of men, and women should be the stereotypical role of women.
Mm-hmm.
So for really a conservative country, it's a total scandal to see a man, for example, with a hair bleach blonde. That was totally out of the pattern, and that was the first thing that actually made to express, let's say, my identity, to bleach my hair blonde. It was a short hair, not even long like I have right now.
Yeah, right.
It was a short hair that I bleached blonde, and that caught the attention of the police, that they that one day I was walking from the university to my house. I came from the whole day studying and everything, and I was walking home, and I passed next to the cathedral in San Salvador. There were
Cathedral.
the cathedral, yeah.
Yeah.
So there was a group of police officers. They were like drinking coffee with some biscuits or something like that. And they
How
just
many?
they were around 5.
Oh, wow.
So they look at me and they just stop me and start to question me why I got my hair blown. If I wanted to be a woman, if I like men's, if I like dicks, and some obscene stuffs that honestly it's really uncomfortable to even say.
Yes.
So, by that moment I was just like, I don't want any problems. But they start questioning everything. So there was a point when some of them touched me for the chin like this. And he looked at my face directly. So he told me, "So why you have your hair blown?" And I just remember I said, "Because I like it." And he just looked at the other officers, and he just said, "So we're gonna teach you how to be a man," because apparently that
Wow.
was something that a man shouldn't do. And they beat me up for around 5 minutes, and they just left me in the street. I mean, I felt like it was horrible, and it was a time that it never ended. And the worst thing is like I was a young guy coming from the university. I just thought to myself, I don't deserve this. I'm a good guy. I'm not even a criminal or something like that. Why? And I was crying just in the street, and no one else came to me because they thought I was someone else that probably steal or something else like that.
Oh, wow.
Just remember, I was too ashamed to came back home, so I just called my best friend and I told her, "Can I stay at your place? I can't go home like this." And I just went to her place, and that was what happened. That I hide from my family. And after that incident, which actually was matching the first time allowed to be myself, let's say I live a double life. I live a life some moments when I was the person that the society wants me to be.
Mm-hmm.
But inside of me, there was still that flame that wanted to get out, and it was burning me. So every time I took the license to be the person I wanted to be, let's say bleaching my hair, using chokers, using nail polish or stuff like that, those was the times I suffered attacks in my country. Those were the times when people laugh at me, people make fun of me, people throw me rubbish on the street. And I say this in other places, but even one time a guy threw me a bag with urine, a tiny plastic bag with urine.
Oh,
And
God.
those kind of humiliations, it was like, I don't know honestly how I got the strength to carry on with that.
Mm.
And
And there's nowhere for you to turn.
exactly, there was no way that. So I was one moment when I just thought, I got two options in my life: live the life I don't want it to be and pretend to be the person I am not, or live the life I want it to be. But I don't know how much time I will live that life, because it's just a matter of time to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. That someone can take me out,
Mm.
kidnap me, torture me.
And were you ever able to talk to your family about it?
No, how come? That's no way. So I did a lot of activism in El Salvador also. So I saw some friends, especially transgender women, being killed and being murdered. So there was a point when I thought I will be the next one. Is that my destiny? So even like I said, I didn't knew I was non-binary. I knew I wanted to be different. So I just said to myself, you know what? There's no way I can live my life
Mm.
hiding in the shades and pretending to be a person that I'm not.
There's just no place for you there.
I just need to run and find a place that I can be free. And
Mm-hmm.
actually, people usually ask me, why did you choose the UK? And it's not like I choose the UK. Actually, if by that time, if you Google asylum for LGBT people, the first page you get is from a charity from London that give advice to LGBT asylum seekers and refugees. So you said, if there's a charity that helps LGBT people to cope with asylum process, I think this is it. That you should try it. Give a try and try to be free
Mm.
and able to be the person I wanted to be.
I see. And that kind of leads us on to the next question, and how that journey actually happened, how you physically got here. Was it an easy journey, or did you come straight to Liverpool, or was it via London first, or?
Right. In terms of traveling from my country to the UK, I don't need a visa or something like that. It's just straight. Just took a
Cool.
plane, 13 hours, and I was in London, Heathrow.
That's
And
good.
yeah, that was amazing. I remember the first time when I just landed in London, I just can close my eyes and remember how good I felt when I get out of the plane and I feel like, you will be free. You will be free. I just spent a month in London because honestly, you can claim asylum on the airport, but I was too scared. Honestly, I was too scared. So I just said, first I'm gonna go to this charity, I'm gonna ask for some advice, and then I'm gonna claim asylum. Because my English was terrible at that time. Now it's completely another thing. But by that time, I couldn't even ask for the time or hold the
Wow.
water or something like that. So yeah, it was a nightmare by that time. So uh,
And when
I
was this? 2017.
2017, yeah. So I rent a hostel in London, close to Hyde Park, and I stayed there for a month until I met this charity. They explained a little bit the process. Then I went to the home office to claim. I called, better say, you need to call the home office to make an appointment to claim your asylum. So I went there, and since I didn't got any any penny, I mean, the last few days in London, it was a little bit of a struggle because I rent a hostel that includes a breakfast. So sometimes, because I didn't have much money. Breakfast was the only the only food of the day.
Uh-huh.
So thinking of I need to save money for the transport to that place and everything. I was not working and everything. All my savings were out from the first month in London. But I managed to do it, because I was focused on the sense like, I need to go to that point because I called the home office and I just told them, I don't have much money or something like that, so I'm gonna struggle until that date. So he told me, yeah, well, we're gonna give you another day an appointment, so you will figure it out. And I was like, okay.
Good
So I
to
didn't
hang
know what.
on.
So that was only the beginning. So when I went to the home office, of course, I claimed the support to have a place and everything like that. And the first days, I stay in Croydon in I'm not sure if it's a charity or what, but it's a shelter when they send the asylum seekers while they find a place. They say, you're not gonna stay in London. They're gonna send you somewhere in the country. So I just was like, okay, I'll take it. But fortunately, they sent me here to Liverpool,
Ah, right. Okay.
and I cannot feel more grateful because I came straight to Liverpool, and they sent me to a place called Berlikert, which is let's say it's a tiny center. Well, you are allowed to go out, but it's like a tiny center when there's a lot of buildings and there's a lot of asylum seekers living there. That is a temporary accommodation while they find you a place to live.
Mm-hmm.
So it was quite close to the city center of Liverpool. It was like 15 minutes walking, 10 minutes walking, something like that. Depends on how fast you walk. And I just remember the first day I came to Liverpool and I saw everything. It was like I just fell in love. And there on Berlikurt, they recommend me a charity here from Liverpool, Tahir House, that also has Many Hands One Heart, which is a LGBT supported network for asylum seekers and refugees.
Many Hands One Heart.
Many Hands One Heart, yeah, which is a project of Tahir House. So they were my supported networks, and since I met them, I started to do like networking with different charities to find different opportunities in Liverpool with different stuffs. So yeah, I couldn't feel more grateful about this to be here in Liverpool. I'm still here.
That was one lucky break, though. And so you've said in previous articles that the asylum process was one of the most terrible things for you here in England, and that the process is broken and totally unfair. Could you tell us a little bit more about what you mean? What was it like going through that process for so many years?
It's horrible. I mean, it's hard to talk about that because being on this situation of being on public and people having opinions about my case, it's a little bit of a struggle because I read so many comments of people saying, how come this person has privilege over people that came to war songs, or stuff like that? So how can we say this person is a refugee while there are people that they came from places that they were destructed by wars and were giving them protection and everything? And the thing is, yeah, I suffer traumatic stuff, but yeah, I understand there's also people that suffer more dramatic and more traumatical stuff than me. But
it's not a competition.
Sorry, exactly. That's what I wanted to say. It's not a competition about who suffered the most. I mean, you don't win your asylum because your story is worse than the other person. You don't get asylum. You get asylum because your life is on a real risk for a particular situation, that you belong to a social group, a religion. In my particular case, LGBT people is a social group, for your race or for war or something like that. So imagine all these different reasons why you came here to claim asylum. And you are forced to get into a process that in my case, took me 3 years. I know people that they've been waiting 7 years and they haven't got an answer.
Wow.
And in my experience, that's my experience, I saw a lot of unfair things in my case that if you read, you don't need to, I always tell the people, you don't need to believe me. Believe what the judge said when she granted me my status. That she saw all the proof, she saw all the background evidence, and she said there's enough evidence that put that this person is on risk if they are sent back to their country. So you are forced to tell your story 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. You are forced to come into a process that doesn't believe in you, that trying to look for the tiniest detail to dismiss your story and say you're lying or that's not enough. You came through a process that is not even, that doesn't even help you to get into the society. I am one of the luckiest ones that I found my place in Liverpool because I've been doing volunteer with different charities.
Mm.
But that's something I don't buy myself. But there's no process, there's no way of transition that asylum seeker to refugee to get into the society.
Mm.
So what you can say, once you get your refugee status, it's like just they throw you to the pool with sharks. that's
Right. There's nothing.
that's the thing, and I can tell even that in my own experience, because the current place I had it because the charities I've been working for years, they say, you've been working so hard for us. Now let's let's uh, oh, I forgot the word. Let's allow us to help you.
Uh-huh.
So leave us this time to help you because you've been working so hard with us. I found this the amazing flat that I got right now. I found a job and stuff like that. But even with that, my transition was not over. I'm gonna tell you this exclusive. uh, the home office, they got like the way the home office support you when you do your
Mm.
transition is they give you an integration loan. So they give you an
Okay.
amount of money, so you can. They say they list a certain stuff you can do with that money. You can, for example, buy furniture for your flat. You can, for example, pay the deposit of a rent. So they list or buy stuff for your work.
Okay.
That's the kind of stuff you are supposed to do with that. So the thing is, I apply for that integration. I love because there's no way I can take that response seriously because I want because my job is to do stuffs, video production, audio production, and stuff like that. So I needed a computer, a good computer to do that kind of stuff. So you just grab then I need to find us a computer with these specifications and blah 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 blah. And I cannot get a loan in a bank because I don't have credit score. So I want to ask for this integration loan. Of course, you need to pay it, but the thing is, like, the good thing is like you don't pay interest.
So it's just an interest-free loan.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So I apply, and when I get back the answer, I couldn't believe what they sent.
Go on.
I was like, seriously? I was like, I mean, I'm not sure if they do this in purpose so I can speak about this stuff to people. But the answer I got, it was like, thanks for your application. We know you are a refugee and you totally apply for that. But we believe because since you've been here in the UK since 2017, you had enough time to save money to get everything. And I was just like,
But you're not allowed to work at that time.
exactly, exactly. That's why I answered it. I was like, I'm pretty sure the person, they don't even check my background. They didn't check my case. They don't even check when I got my status. They only saw, oh, this person came in 2017. Nope.
Oh wow.
And I just answered them back. Thank you for your email. I want to appeal for this decision because if you check my records, since 2017 to 2020, I was not allowed to work. I got my refugee status in November 2020. So, and got my biometric residence card on January. So I've been this for a while, for like 2 months, and I don't have time to get a job and stuff like that.
No.
I'm still waiting for the answer, but it's like
wow.
something that is supposed to help you to integrate you to the
Yeah.
society. Because there are other countries that they got a complete program to integrate refugees to the society. So in this case, the Home Office, the only support, as far as I know, is this integration law that can help you. They even deny you without checking your records. So it was like, oh my gosh, if they don't help you on the process and outside of the help, so something is wrong here. I
Well,
mean,
especially for people who are less prepared or supported, if there are other people going through similar processes that haven't got the support that you've got, it must be even more difficult for them.
that's what I thought exactly. If they do that to me, that I'm a person that I consider myself lucky because I have support of charities. I got a good level of English. I've been doing activities, so I do my rights as a refugee or asylum seeker.
Mhm.
If they do that to me, what they could have done to people that doesn't have a clue about the process, people that don't got the strength to stand for their rights, people that don't have the strength to cope with all the stuff that they've been living in their country, and now to the stress of this process, so it's just something, like I said, it's broken and it's not to help people. The asylum process, and even you can read that, you can hear that was exactly the words of Theresa May. They want to do a immigration system that is hostile for
Mhm.
immigrants. Theresa May said that.
Mm.
So in that sense, they are doing that. The system is not made to help you to cope with the trauma of leaving your country. The system is made up to kick you out of this country.
Wow. And so, with all of that in mind, which sounds, just exhausting as much as anything else, if you could give one piece of advice to somebody who is going through that system or about to go through that system, what do you think the best piece of advice would be if you just had one piece?
Wow. um,
Tough one.
well, it's difficult because I've been doing volunteer also with helping asylum seekers and refugees, and it's easy sometimes for you to say, be strong, be positive, but when the reality tells you totally the opposite. The reality tells you, no matter how much you owe the refugee status, they are not gonna keep you because they don't want to. So at the end, my only advice will be to not waste the time. It's difficult to, sorry, it's easy to say use your time in productive things when you are like in a place like Liverpool. But
Mm.
the Home Office send you to the middle of nowhere when you don't have access to any charities or something like that is totally different.
Yeah.
So, it's difficult to give an advice, but if you have an opportunity to do volunteer, to go out, to meet people, do it, because at the end, it's important that you don't cope along with the process.
Hmm.
That's the thing. Try to find someone else to support you.
Okay.
And to support you, there will be different kind of support. Could be from emotional support with counseling. Before I came to the UK, I didn't know how important was counseling. I was this kind of mind that, if you're suffering, you're coping, look it for yourself. Don't seek for advice in someone else.
Mm.
But being in this process taught me about the importance of the counseling, importance of have a friend or someone else that you can talk about that, have something productive to do in your life, because since you're not allowed to work or you are allowed to get public funds to study, try to find, there are some councils that here in Liverpool, we got our Liverpool program, which is a local program that is made to be the job that the Home Office is not doing, integrating refugees and asylum seekers to the society. So there are other places, Manchester and other places, that they got similar programs that will help you to get into the society. Because at the end, if you don't look for that, sadly the Home Office is not going to help you with that. sadly, the home office is not here to help you, to introduce you to the society.
Yeah.
The home office is not here to give you the tools to look for your life.
I guess that's very much the luck of the draw, or as to where you get placed then, isn't it? You've been placed in Liverpool, and in a way that's been a big contributing factor to you being able to integrate the way that you have. I mean, you've said previously that Liverpool is one of the best places in the UK. Can you tell me the main differences that you've noticed living in Liverpool, and just the everyday stuff about how people treat you and greet you?
Yes.
Not that this is a sales pitch for Liverpool, but
It is. It is. It is. Come to Liverpool. You know. Well, I hear a lot of this, but this is the Scouser spirit. You know, we are a city fulfilled with experience of many years from since Liverpool were a port with slavery and stuff like that to who is not right now. So the social consciousness is really awakening here. So you can have many charities in here that will work, for example, for the environment. They work for asylum seekers and refugees. There are local charities that help people that struggle with HIV and stuff like that. So in Liverpool, we got that spirit that help people that are vulnerable. So in that sense, as a former asylum seeker, now refugee, this city opened the arms to me and they say, we want to take care of you. And in that sense, so that's in the sense of the charities and also the people here on the streets. That's why when you see the elections, Liverpool, Merseyside, we are all red. You can translate that to the point of view to the society. We both labor for one reason, because we believe in the sense of like this spirit of the community, this spirit of we can do something better than a capitalist society that is totally a monster with individuals. Mm-hmm. So this spirit like is translated to any aspect. That's something I love from Liverpool, because we got this constant speech doing stuff, but you can see that translate to other stuff. So there are some people, some stuff that they say one thing, but they don't do what they are saying. But here in Liverpool, we say, yes, we are open, we help the vulnerable people, and you can find actually places to help that vulnerable people. You can find a lot of programs to help you in a lot of stuff that I cannot finish with all the stuff, but it's like the constant, this constant that this speech is not only a speech, it's also something that you can live here. Is that what makes Liverpool so special in that sense.
They mean what they say.
Yes.
That's good to hear. That makes me happy that Liverpool has been a good refuge for you. Moving back to basics a little bit, I suppose, and if you don't mind talking about this, there will be some people listening to this podcast who are still not really sure of what it means to be non-binary, how this is different from being trans. We have had some previous education pieces on the subject for the whole of Waitman's, but it's a question that people still quite often ask. But also people don't always feel comfortable asking those questions or know who to ask or how to ask them. So would you feel comfortable explaining this a little bit from your own perspective, obviously, to our colleagues who are listening?
Right. In fact, that is one of my fights right now. I never stop fighting. I do one thing and I stand for another. But one of my current fights is actually that, to raise awareness, what means to be non-binary. Because I hear some people that they took this as a joke they say, so if you are not a man, you're not a woman, what the hell you are? So
Mm.
it's like, I'm non-binary, I'm telling you. So coming back to your question, because I know it's quite uh, recent in the mainstream, all this terminology. So, but it has been here for years, honestly. So the thing
Mm.
that it has been is mainstream now doesn't mean it's not been here for years and years. But basically, to put you in context, that's how I understand this. Usually, you are assigned one role when you either man or female, right? So I will ask you these questions and to anyone's at home. Why you should stick to those roles? We are evolving in a society when these current roles, honestly, they are pointless.
Mm.
The role of a woman, it was to be a mother, a housewife, stay at home, raise the children. The man was the alcoholic. The man was the one that provides the food, was working.
Mm.
But across the society has been evolving. You know, now the woman, if she wants, she can choose to not have children at all. That doesn't make her less woman. The other side, the men can choose to not be the person working and to stay at home taking care of the children.
So for
So
you, it's not really about.
let me finish. Let me
Sorry,
finish.
go on, go on.
Yeah. So while our society has been evolving, these two roles, they has been losing the sense or the point of view. So that's a term of what the society tells you to be. Let's go to the other side, which is the side of how you feel. So this is my particular case. So when I raised up, I started to look to like stuff like I said, like the nail polish, having my hair long, blonde, super messy, like Britney Spears and stuff like that. And but I just didn't feel like I suit or fit in the category of a man completely. Because first of all, I don't like women, but like men doesn't make you less man.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying is, but at the same time, I didn't want to transition to woman. So this is the point. If you got the two sides, but you don't feel you belong to one and you belong to the other one, it's not because you don't know who you are, you don't know who you belong. You belong to this alternative to the size that society tells you. So this is what is to be non-binary. In the sense like there's two opposite sides, but you don't want to stick to one or steer to other one. So in this sense, the non-binary spectrum is like a group of other different stuff. It could be gender fluid, they could be people that feels that they are asexual, people that feel that they are what's it called, a queer or stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. So non-binary is all the group of people that doesn't feel they match with the two sides. So it's like the center of the spectrum.
Mm.
But at the same time, this center of the spectrum has different colors. You see, it's not only black or white there. There are different colors. So imagine this like the spectrum of colors. You got one of the side and other at the other side. But there are different colors in the middle. So it's like non-binary will be all the group of these different colors in the middle, while men and female will be like the two sides of the spectrum. If that makes sense.
It does. I think one of the problems is that people confuse and I know that I have in the past as well, before I've made more of an effort to read and understand. But I think the confusion between gender and sexuality, and that actually we're not talking about sexuality.
Exactly.
We're just talking about how we feel. And it's hard if you've never questioned your gender identity, if you've grown up as a girl or a woman and you've always felt that that suits you, then it's not something you've ever really had to think about. But at the same time, what I don't think I could tell somebody else what feeling like a woman feels like. I don't think I could explain to somebody, well, I'm a woman and I don't question that because this is how I feel. And therefore maybe in the future we'll all be non-binary, because what does feeling like a woman mean?
You know, I got this theory. Probably you and I, we are not gonna be here by that time. But I mean, I'm 29, but I feel like I'm 70.
I know that feeling.
The younger generations, they are evolving so fast, faster than us. I thought my generation evolved fast, but the new generation, they are like running, and I was like, hold on, Charles, I'm trying to understand you guys. But the new generation that they are coming, they even more identifies themselves as non-binary. Sometimes to challenge the current status of the society, sometimes because they really feel like non-binary. But I got this theory that the new generations, they will be looking, and I mean, I understand all the fights of the feminists, I understand all the fights of the trans and everything, but the less we try to label someone else in something, the most equal we are gonna be. And
Well,
I
the
think
less there is to fight about.
exactly, the less fight about it. So we are all the same. So I think that's something the new generations understand better than us. So if we are all, that's why identify themselves more as a non-binary, because I see now guys from 14, 13 years say, you know what, I'm non-binary, and I don't care what you say. And it makes sense for me in the sense like they are trying to reinforce this idea of equality. So like I say, it's not about to erase women, erase men on everyone else. It's about to be everyone else on the same symphony. It's not about to deny rights to a group or something else. It's more about how we can be equal.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I mean, my next question was going to be about the process you went through, from realization that you weren't a gay man to realizing that there was a different name for how you felt. Are you happy to talk about that a little bit, or do you think we've covered it?
Sorry. Right. So the thing is, like I said before, I had something inside of me that I couldn't fit at all. Or fit at all in the sense that imagine this game where you have like different shapes and you need to put that some stuff inside. So I got one shape that for me it doesn't match to these other shapes that I already know. So where should I fit this? So when I started to do my counseling was because all the process of the asylums took me in a very dark place when I said I prefer to kill myself here in England than come back to El Salvador and have a horrible murder. So to cope with that negative energies and thoughts, I started to do counseling. But while you start to gain, let's say, confidence with your practitioner, and you start to explore other things on other topics that probably is not the center of the therapy, but sometimes it's nice to have a chat about different stuff. So for like love life, friends, relationships, one of these topics one day was my practitioner. She just asked me, "Do you feel like a woman, or do you want to transition?" I was like, "No, no, I don't. I don't feel like a woman." But I add what I said, and I add, "But you know what? I don't feel as a man at all." So it's like I'm not sure if I'm being weird. I told her, but I don't want to transition, but I am not a man at all. So I'm not sure where I am right now. So in that moment, she started to explain me, you know what? You're not alone. There's other people that feel like you, that feel that they are on the limbo or something like that. And she started explaining all this stuff about the non-binary movement and everything. And it just clicked. Like I said, that figure that didn't shape in all the other, it's just shaping here. And I was like, yeah, it's here. I think this is how I felt, and I feel identified with that. Like, and it's such a thing that you can say, I am this. I finally can explain it.
That must have been a relief.
Yeah, because all my friends, they told you know what, I can't see you like a man. I was like, I know, I'm not feel myself like a man, but I'm not a girl, I'm not a woman. and but now I'm able to say, I'm non-binary. And I just remember when I told my best friends, they say, yeah, it makes sense. You don't need to explain everything. You are that. Yes, we knew it, but we don't have a word for that before this. I was like, me neither. So yeah, it was that kind of feeling.
Wonderful. That's good to hear. So I did have quite a few questions more, but I'm aware that we're running out of time. So one more thing I did want to ask you is, I don't know if you could tell, but I was quite nervous interviewing you today, as this is my very first podcast. But for you, I guess this is just like a day in the office. Would you like to tell us a little bit about the work you do now and what you love best about your job?
Yes, I'm working with Heart of Glass, which is a charity based on St. Helens that they do projects with communities, different communities.
Is it all in St. Helens or?
No, they are based on St. Helens, but they also work with communities in Liverpool, the Wirral, the Merseyside, let's say.
Yeah.
And so basically what they do is they do projects related with arts with different communities. So they started to do a project with Many Hands, One Heart. And I feel grateful that I am working with people seeking asylum, refugees. And, we started doing something only for the group, but now all this partnership is growing up. So we are now collaborating with the city council, we're collaborating with Mercy Care. So it's like, in a moment, I just say, you know what, I'm, I'm still continue paving the way for more asylum seekers and refugees. And it's like, I don't want people to suffer the same stuff I suffer on the process. So I'm going to continue to work on this, to people to have justice, to people to be treated with dignity. That's what they need, at least, to be treated with dignity.
Mm-hmm. So one part of your job then is running the Mic Drop podcast, yeah. And people can listen to those podcasts through the Heart of Glass website.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we'll put a link to that on the email when we send this podcast out.
Yeah, sure. And we are having another projects that, well, I can talk about the one that we are releasing next week, but not about the other one. So we're going to have the Ida Hobbit, which was yesterday, May 17th. But we're going to celebrate it this next Saturday.
Sorry, what was that? The which?
Ida Hobbit is the International Day Against Homophobia, Biphobia, Transphobia.
Ah, of course, yes.
Yeah, so we're gonna have our event on May 22nd. That probably was past when this podcast is released, but you can look in YouTube for Liverpool Ida Hobbit 2021. And it's gonna be a big event that I'm really loving because I am the director of this.
Oh, wow.
It's not because it's my baby, it's because that the effort and all the stuff, we're gonna have performances, but we're gonna have speeches also from people from different organizations in Liverpool that honestly is I'm so proud of because it's like we put together all the support Liverpool gives to LGBT people, not only asylum seekers or refugees, also people in general from Liverpool LGBT, and we got this together so we can share, like I say, how Liverpool it's a better place thanks to asylum seekers and refugees, and also it's a better place for them. So it's like this correlationship, like the Liverpool, like the society of Liverpool, working to help asylum seekers and refugees, and also asylum seekers and refugees working to be better, to make better this society. So it's just beautiful.
It sounds wonderful. We'll definitely put some links to that on the email. Well, I think we've used up all our time with lots of wonderful chatting. So I just want to say thank you again so much for agreeing to talk to us today. And thanks from everybody.
Hey, thank you to everyone that is listening. Goodbye.